Good morning. This morning, I received an impactful email from the Bible Project today, and its content on the Sermon on the Mount, specifically about hunger and thirst for righteousness, struck me as remarkably clear. It compels me to share this profound message with my beloved ones who need to hear this message. It took decades for me to grasp it fully. Even I'm trying to memorizing it, and all the things that happened recently, making it an incredible provision at the right time. I'm so excited to introduce this in my video. That's how I try to come and open my laptop and show you what I'm reading. So I try to my best. So here, Bible Project articles. I didn't think about this is gonna really amazing like this. Bible Project articles, a life that satisfies our longings. In the first section of the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus announces that the good life belongs to those who crave right relationships. This idea is rooted in the Hebrew scriptures and defines the new reality that Jesus introduces. Read our newest article and discover the invitation behind Jesus' words. He calls us to trust God with our daily existence while still hungering for a way of life that will one day be satisfied. So I'm gonna go the detail, read the article. So this message, just I'm gonna read it to you. What does it mean to hunger and thirst for righteousness? I think many of us want to figure it out, what really Jesus meant this one. In Matthew 5:6, Jesus talks about the right relating with others. Here, relating, this word really very like a sound like active. I love to hear and read this one. Okay. Cursor. Okay, I might need this one. Okay, wonderful. Yeah. The world God created is shaped around intrinsic right relating. See Genesis chapter 1. Male and female human beings walk with God, and He creates them as partners who bear God's image and care for the rest of creation. It's here that we get the first picture of righteousness, humanity's good relationship with God, each other, and the land they live on. When Adam and Eve choose to ignore God's instruction and eat from the tree of knowing good and evil, it's a choice to stop relating well with God. Immediately, a seismic shift occurs in the way that they relate to each other and everything around them. Listen to Adam's response after God asks, "Did you eat from the tree that I commanded you not to eat from?" Adam says, "The woman whom you gave me, she gave me some fruit from the tree and I ate it." Genesis 3, chapter 3, 11 to 12. When God turns to Eve, she similarly deflects blame toward the serpent. Suddenly, man and woman become preoccupied with self-preservation in a way that requires the subjugation of one another and the world around them. Previously, the humans walked in right relationship with each other and their Creator. Now they hide from Him and respond dishonestly to His questions. Even worse, they begin to die because right relating is essential to ongoing life. Humanity's inherent desire for right relationships has since been replaced with fear and an appetite for personal protection and gain. We are taught to compete for resources and defend what we have, keeping others and enemies away at any cost. But oh, sorry. But God didn't want to leave things this way, so He periodically gives instruction to people, like the law given to Israel through Moses. This law was intended to address humanity's destructive craving. Wow, a deadly kind of hungering and thirsting. The daily practice of Moses' law created rhythms of right relating with God and others that undermine self-centered ways of life. When people and whole communities follow these instructions, those routinely harmed and ignored by the power-hungry, the poor and powerless, widows and orphans, can find new life through the care shown to them by their neighbors. Despite these instructions from God, humanity continues to pursue self-supremacy with the determination of a famished wolf searching for prey. In response, God persistently calls His people back to a way of right relating that will finally satiate their deepest longing. Righteousness, hunger, and thirst in the Sermon on the Mount. Given how integral this idea of a right relationship is to the Bible story, it's not surprising that the theme takes center stage in Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. Matthew 5:20, 6:1, 6:33, 7:12. When Jesus sits down on the mountainside, surrounded by crowds of people, Jesus details a revolutionary way of life that's rooted in ancient wisdom from the Hebrew Bible. With His words, Jesus sets a table and invites those listening to experience a nourishing way of life that satisfies our longing for good relationships with all people. This is the kind of relating that defines Jesus' kingdom way of life. Excuse me. How good is life for the poor in spirit? Jesus says, because theirs is the kingdom of the skies. It's a Bible Project translation, I think so. We usually saw kingdom of heaven, but here skies. How good is life? He promises for the peacemakers. Matthew 5:39. Jesus' tender words have transformative power, inviting us to abandon our hunger for self-sufficiency and power. Like loving parents gently lifting their child's gaze to meet their own, Jesus invites us to be transformed by a desire for right relationship with Himself and one another. Be like me, He says. Allow your perspective of the world to be turned upside down and yearn for a new way of living and relating. This kind of righteousness is about more than a personal moral code. According to Jesus, it is possible to become consumed with following rules without craving right relationships. Matthew 5:20. Jesus also confronts a group of Bible scholars who expertly adhere to the law while simultaneously oppressing the vulnerable. Matthew 23:1-36. They are acting with evil while thinking they are the most righteous people in town. Jesus says that real righteousness points back to the first garden and describes the ethic of God's kingdom. This way of life is inspired not by an appetite for personal gain, but by a hunger for love that compels a person to be fair and just toward others, to seek peace with all, and to generously give without restraint. Matthew 5:38-42. Jesus lives like this without fail, and he invites everyone to join him in hungering for righteousness in our own lives and in our world. This is what Jesus means when he says, rather, first of all, seek for his kingdom and doing what is right by him, and all these things will be added to you. Matthew 6:33. It's a Bible Project translation, BPT. Before presenting his listeners with this challenging promise, Jesus reassures them that God cares about their physical needs. So then, don't worry, saying, what will we eat? Or what will we drink? Or what will we wear for clothing? He says, for the nations, they constantly seek for all these things, and your Father in the skies knows that you need all that. Matthew 6:31-32. Amen. The message is at once simple and revolutionary. Jesus invites us to trust God with the substance of our daily existence, while simultaneously becoming consumed with a hunger for the right relationships of his kingdom. You will be satisfied. When we trust that right relating with God and others is no less essential for life than food or water, Jesus teaches our lives will be turned upside down. We start living like we are already in God's kingdom and start experiencing a taste of its goodness. Throughout his time on earth, Jesus was lifting the downtrodden and challenging those who sought power at the cost of the helpless. As an ultimate expression of this righteous way, Jesus willingly gives up his life. His death is at once a demonstration of humanity's cruel hunger for power and God's boundless mercy, justice, and determined pursuit of right relationships. Amen. Jesus calls us to push aside our craving for personal gain and become like him. He promises that our hunger for this way of life will not leave us wanting. How good is life for those who hunger and thirst for right relationships, because they will be satisfied. Matthew 5:6. Did you catch it? He's saying that if we become hungry for right relating with others, we will eventually be satisfied. All of restored humanity will live in a flourishing world where no human being does harm or relates poorly to another. That's the home everyone was built for. If we hunger for that, we will be satisfied. Through his way of life and teaching, Jesus is slowly but surely changing our hearts, teaching us to love one another like He does, and leading us to an incorruptible home where relating righteousness will be our daily fare. This article was written collaboratively by the Bible Project Scholar team and edited by Dr. Ben Turtin, copy edited by Kenzie Harbert Howen with additional editorial support from Mike Fleming. This Bible Project message now so clear. The sometimes righteousness sound like very ambiguous. It's about sound like justice, but here more like a righteous relationship. That's how the word adding relationship, because of the scholars. What does Jesus means about the relationship? The righteousness. So clearly they put this word. That's why Bible Project word study is amazing. Anyway, that's how urgently I should feel like I should share this one right away. So I'm now recording it. I am recording it, and I'm gonna post it up as soon as possible after I check it out. Anyway, I'm now reading this one second time to record. And this is all amazing. I'm gonna read and translate in Korean again for my Korean subscribers and Korean listeners. So I'm gonna read third time this whole entire message. I think it's worthy. I never tried to repeat and whatever. I didn't like to repeat and repeat kind of thing. But it's 100 times repeated until it embedded in my heart and make me to obey what I supposed to do to be like Jesus. So I'm so happy to share this message as soon as I received it. Thank you. Thank you. Let's trust God and obey Him, His commandments. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.